In this edition of INN CEO Talks, the topic is gold, a commodity with increasing interest, all in anticipation of a turn in the market. The price of gold today is just shy of $1,900 an ounce, and that's not too far off the 10-year high. Joining me today is Derek McPherson, the president and CEO of Gold 79 Mines. Derek, welcome.
Thank you for having me, Stuart.
Well, it's a pleasure. You know, Gold 79 has been here in the past, but it's been a couple of years. And so for a number of viewers, they may not be as familiar as we would like them to be with the company. Bring them up to speed. Let's talk about the three projects that you have underway in both Nevada and Arizona.
Yeah, so Gold 79 is a Southwest U.S. gold explorer. And I think we have three projects that any one of which could justify our current market cap. We have the Tip Top project in Nevada, the Jefferson Canyon project also in Nevada, which is right next to Kinross's Round Mountain mine, and the Gold Chain project in Arizona. Gold Chain, the work over the last year has been at Gold Chain and Jefferson Canyon. Jefferson Canyon, we've been permitting towards our maiden drill program there, following up on some really good historical results from the 1980s. And at Gold Chain, we've actually been growing the land package and have done some initial exploration, did a maiden drill program in the fall of last year. And then have done some follow-up sampling and some very good recent results from our Tyro, from the Tyro mine at that project.
So tell us about those results.
Yeah, so basically, in the sort of to back up a little bit, in the fall of last year, we did a deal to acquire this set of patented claims. We signed the deal on Friday. We were drilling on Monday, and that was based on some preliminary work that we did. And we drilled 4 holes and hit about 20 meters at 2 grams a ton. Following that, we decided we want to do a little more of surface mapping and sampling, and also there were some historic underground workings that we wanted to follow up on. And so the news that just came out last week was the sampling results from those underground workings. And I think the impressive part there is that 600 meters from that drilling that we hit, 2 meters at 20 grams, we hit 2.5 grams over 25 meters from chip channel sampling across the vein underground. And so that's really starting to demonstrate continuity of grade over a large area. And this is a kilometer target as a whole, so we've got some more work to do, but I think there's a starting to form into a potential deposit.
So what's the schedule on that additional work?
So right now, what we've done, the work that we have ongoing now, we did the underground sampling at Tyro. We've actually done some additional sampling at Sheep Trail, which is another set of patented claims that we acquired earlier this year. The focus being with the Sheep Trail claims is we wanted to, again, take some preliminary data that we collected and follow up on that. So we're expecting some sampling results from that. Then once we have all of that done, we'll couple that with all that sampling results in-house. We've also recently completed some geophysics across the entire project. And we're going to take all of that data and then decide where the next set of drill targets are. I would expect that we'd be likely to be drilling in the fall at Gold Chain of this year.
So you've got some pretty good results, and yet, like others who are in this sector, share value doesn't seem to be reflecting the results that we're seeing from your press releases and the results of your drilling. Any ideas as to what's happening there?
Well, there's the complicated answer, the simple answer. The simple answer is that right now the market isn't rewarding exploration stage companies for success. And the reason behind that could be a number of things. Part of it's liquidity. Part of it is, the fact that it's harder and harder to raise money and the cost of capital has gone up. And so success, it's harder and harder to get that next success. I think also, there's a lot of fear in the market right now, and we're seeing it. While we're recording this today, we're getting 1,000-point swings in the U.S. in the general U.S. markets. And so there's a bit of a risk off trade. And junior gold exploration is probably the top of the list as far as the risk trade goes. And so I think those macro factors are what have negatively impacted junior gold equities. However, I remember back from when I was an analyst, and companies would come to me and CEOs would come to me and say, like, what's wrong with my stock? I've been putting out all these good numbers. Things are going, technically things are going well, but the market isn't rewarding me. And inevitably my answer would be, and now I have to remind myself of it, is that, listen, we're in this, you keep doing the right things on the projects, and eventually the market will reward you for those things as you advance those projects. And I think, from our perspective, that's what we're doing. We're, the way capital markets are is dictating the pace of how we advance the projects, but what we're doing and what we're seeing on the ground is we're turning out some really good results. So that's all
And
we can do.
right. And if we do take a look at where the price of gold is right now, it continues to inch up, has been trending that way for the past couple of years. Clearly, there is growing interest. And so when you take a look at your strategy, which is to go back to historical sites and now say, okay, let's find what was left behind, because as we all know, modern mining practices supersede those of many of these mine sites that may have gone dormant 40, 50 years ago.
That's exactly. I mean, we're not interested in very greenfields exploration, and and the reason is that it's that much harder, right? All of our projects have 100 plus drill holes in them. All of them have returned economic grades from that drilling, and some of them very spectacular. And part of our logic and strategy behind why we built this land package is that we don't want to be um, hoping that there's gold mineralization underneath a geophysical dot, right? We're taking at Gold Chain as an example, we took these historic past producing mines. We've done some initial sampling work and mapping and understand where they are. Now we're applying some additional modern techniques like geophysics to it. Done a little bit of drilling, and now that puts us in a great position to decide whether there is a deposit of scale there or not. And that's what you want. Ultimately, you're trying to find a deposit of scale that can become a mine, and that's what ultimately drives the re-rating, what investors reward. And so we're getting that. We're making that progress to that, and everything we've seen to date suggests that there's a multi-million ounce. There's a potential for a multi-million ounce deposit at Gold Chain, or deposits at Gold Chain. And similarly, it's the same approach we've taken at Jefferson Canyon. Jefferson, we acquired a project that has 145 historic drill holes in it. And if you look at the data that we have there, there's if it's not 43-101 compliant, but there's an exploration target that's over, that points to a decent small resource there already. And from that, we know that it's open at depth because we've reprocessed some geophysics. We've done some surface soil mapping, some modern exploration techniques to follow up those holes that were drilled in the 80s. And now we have that potential for a multi-million ounce deposit. So, and I think that's the focus of what we're at. We're trying to, everything's about reducing risk, right? And reducing risk on those returns. And by having this trove of historic data, we're reducing the risk for our investors on us making a discovery.
Are you starting to attract some attention from majors who are wanting to know more? If not, then starting to look at some kind of an investment position into your projects?
Well, I mean, I think that we're always having those conversations. My years on the capital market side, I have a lot of relationships, and we're trying to keep people up to date as much as possible. We are because of market cap and stage. I think that everyone's waiting for a little bit more. That's what they always tell you, at least. But I think that there's certainly some opportunities for us to, get partners that make sense based on where our assets are, and leverage those and leverage their expertise and balance sheets to help advance our projects a little bit quicker.
Well, that seems to be the way that the market's moving right at the moment. So for investors right now, where do you go to from here?
Yeah, I think the key thing for us in the interim, there's sort of three things that really matter for us. The first, and I think what a lot of investors are waiting for, are permits at Jefferson Canyon. It's been a process to get those. It's been a reasonable length process to get those permits done for that initial drill program. We're sort of at the if it was a 400 yard or if it was a 400 meter race, we're at meter 375 at the moment, so we're right at the finish line for those permits. Once we have permits, as soon as we have permits in hand, our plan is to drill at Jefferson Canyon this summer. And I think a lot of investors are actually waiting for that, because Jefferson has a historic hole on it of 41 meters at 6 grams gold and 400 grams silver in those 145 historic holes. And so that's a big push for us, is to get those permitted, and then we're going to fund that drill program. The second thing is that we're continuing to advance Gold Chain and get ready for its a potential drill program in the fall there. And again, that's expect some sampling results from Sheep Trail. We had some very good initial sampling. It's got the highest percentage of surface samples above 5 grams across the whole Gold Chain project. So investors should be looking forward to that. Additionally, the property-wide geophysics. We've identified gold is structurally controlled at Gold Chain. A lot of the project, the geology sticks out of the ground, and so that we could see it and map it, like a tyro or a sheep trail. But a lot of the project's actually covered by the pediment, and so that the purpose of the geophysics is to see if we can see through those gravels and identify those structures that give us an opportunity to even add even more targets at Gold Chain. So that's sort of the focus in the short term for Gold 79.
Fairly aggressive. You got the financial resources you need to complete all of your plans, or will you need to go back and raise a bit more money?
To complete the sampling and geophysics and the sort of that sort of lower cost work, we are funded to do that, and to complete our permits, assuming they come in a timely manner. However, when we go to drill, we're gonna have to raise money for both drill programs. I think it's important, though, as we've been talking to investors over the years, and the year that I've been at Gold 79, a lot of them are really there for Jefferson Canyon and want to see us go drill that project. And so a lot of people have indicated, a lot of early stage institutional investors have indicated to us that they would be there once we're ready to drill, Jefferson Canyon. So I'm less concerned about that equity raise, if that makes sense.
This is a really good time for people to be looking at Gold 79.
I think so. I think that this is, it's certainly that we've been hit hard by the sort of the risk off trade in the market. That coupled with the same day we had a free trade date, and so obviously the stock got pushed down, and that, which is unfortunate. But I don't think that from a tactical basis, there's nothing wrong with the project. We're moving ahead. We're in very good shape, and frankly, when we get those Jefferson permits, I think we're going to be in a good shape to drill. And so there's a real opportunity to get yourself positioned at the current share price. And myself and our CFO John have been out in the market buying stock pretty steadily, and because we very much believe in what the potential of Gold 79 is, and how good our projects are.
Well, good projects in great jurisdictions, a great team. Good time to be looking at Gold 79. Thanks for your time today, Derek.
Thank you, Stuart.